I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's Starborn show is called Tough Choices, and that is what we're probably all going to be a little bit stuck with this week. As people have to make tough choices due to surrounding circumstances right now that will require that from all of us. And it has to do with the fact that we have 7 planets out of the 10 planets that are all in a harsh T-cross among both the fixed signs and the mutable signs. And so we're going to have to deal with the challenges that these harsh T-crosses can be facing. And that is despite the fact that there are some nice trines among the fire signs and the earth signs and the air signs. But that may help us as we make tough decisions and go on in our life. But right now we're going to have to deal with the tough decisions that are required. One of the big ones that can be required right now is that there can be leadership changes. And these leadership changes could be the result of people who perhaps have not been doing things quite up to par, and they might get caught with actions behind the scenes that are not becoming to leaders, and so there have to be leadership changes. And that is because there is the first harsh T-cross is in the fixed signs. And that comes from Mars in Leo, and Leo rules leadership. But Mars is a malefic planet that rules anger and aggression and even war. And it is being opposed by Pluto, which is retrograde now in Aquarius, which rules people in upper management that have future plans and sort of want to get on with those. These 2 planets, Mars and Pluto, are the rulers of Scorpio. And Scorpio does rule war, but it's a fixed financial sign. And so that is an indication that there can be financial arguments, or there could be problems that come to the surface now, and they have to be solved. And that is why tough choices have to be made. Because it isn't just these 2 planets that are sort of at war with each other. Remember that an opposition represents a separation. And that's why there can be leadership changes as well. But these 2 planets are being very heartily squared by the Sun and Uranus in Taurus. And so they're both being squared by that. Well, Uranus is one malefic planet, Mars is the other, and they're coming up against each other, and both planets are known for speedy change, or aggressive change, or very surprising change. And so that can be going on as leadership can be changing, and perhaps there can be somebody who's been caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Ooh, it means that leadership changes could result due to the past actions of someone that come to the surface and can be judged in a way where things just absolutely have to change. So something can be revealed in a way that necessitates leadership changes, but it can have something to do with financial affairs as well. Because of these 4 planets, Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, ruling credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, and grants. But Taurus is the other fixed financial sign, which is squaring the planets in Leo and Aquarius. And Taurus rules how you make your money and what you spend it on, so it rules investments. And so leadership changes can be due perhaps to a sort of a funny way that people have been handling financial matters that finally are revealed. And then the other harsh T-cross is among the mutable signs, which are usually very agreeable and can get along with people pretty easily. But for today, the moon is in Virgo, and it is in late degrees of Virgo at 20 degrees. It is being opposed by Saturn at 28 degrees in Pisces. And remember that an opposition represents separations. Well, the moon rules women and mothers, and Saturn rules fathers and authority figures. And the trouble with this is that these 2 planets are being squared by Jupiter in Gemini. And Jupiter is a very good planet, and it's in Gemini, and Gemini represents youth. And so it can be that either parents are not in agreement about the plans for their children, or it can be that simply young people see their future in a different way than authority figures or their parents do. Maybe they're geared towards something in the future and they can want to head for that, and other people don't want to allow them to do that. And that can be setting off sparks right now, because the problem is that Jupiter in Gemini is being beautifully trined by Pluto in Aquarius, and it's retrograde, and it represents people in high positions in management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, and that Jupiter in Gemini is trining that. And it may be that career aspirations for younger people are not what the older people are thinking about, but the young ones are. And so this could happen even to you. And if you're not at the age where you can call yourself young anymore, and you could be sort of wondering what young people are up to, it at least could still affect you. Tough choices would still have to be made, because it could happen in your workplace. It could happen in your country. It could happen in an organization that you belong to. And so there can be controversy there, or clashes. And so whether you're young or old right now, people are going to have to make adjustments. Okay, adjustment is a word that can imply change. And that is true. Gemini rules change. And Jupiter's there. So there's nothing wrong with change. But there could be some tough choices that have to be made right now. And we could all be involved in that, either as observers, or it could happen to us directly for one reason or another. And it's no fun having to make tough choices. But sooner or later, if you're making a tough choice now, I think you're going to be real glad you did that. In the long run, you'll be glad. Because, you know, the one good way to never get anywhere is to just sit on the fence. And that way time goes on and you don't. And so people do have to make tough choices in their lives right now. And that's because 7 planets are all squaring or opposing each other among the fixed signs and the mutable signs. So what does that mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, remember I said there are some trines going on, and it's happening in the fire signs, and that's because that Mars in Leo is trining your sun, Aries. And you have Neptune in your sun sign, and you have Mercury in your sun sign, and Venus is there as well. So a lot of planets in your sun sign. You could feel, since your sign rules new beginnings, Aries, that you just want to get up and go. But it might require a tough decision anyway, because perhaps not everyone is going to agree with you. That Mars in Leo, which is your own ruler, and it is trining your sun, is under very harsh aspects among fixed signs. And the problem is that there will have to be changes, perhaps at the top, related to financial matters. And that could either help you get a new start off the ground, or it could hinder it at this point. And so you may have to make a tough decision, or what I think is that someone else is going to have to make a tough decision. And as much as you would like it to go in your favor, if you're involved with any financial transactions right now, I would slow down, Aries, because there could be a problem coming up with that. And it could involve something where a tough decision would have to be made. And you do have good planets in your sun sign, but your ruler is certainly being heavily challenged right now. And so I wouldn't count on too much right now. The thing is that when a person does make a tough decision right now, I think in the long run they're going to be glad they did that. And so you may be too. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, yours is a financial sign ruling investments and high-priced property or gourmet food and wine. Taurus likes that too. But Taurus, you have the Sun and Uranus in your sun sign. Well, Uranus has been in your sun sign for 6 years. It's got 1 more year to go in that sign. And it's a malefic planet that represents sudden surprising change, one way or the other. And both of those planets are being squared by Mars in Leo right now. And so that's affecting you, Taurus, because, you know, the Sun and Uranus are in your sun sign. Perhaps landing you at least somewhere in the last 6 years with a sudden surprising change. And that's not over yet, Taurus. That could still happen, particularly regarding financial matters. And remember, I said that one of the things that can be going on is that leadership changes now, either due to their past actions which come to the surface, or perhaps because they're getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar, maybe making money a little bit behind the scenes that nobody knew about, that could be not in their job description, but they did it anyway. And so you're facing some sort of harsh challenge right now, Taurus, and I'd be real slow on the uptake. I'd be real slow about what you do right now and think it over, because Pluto is in Aquarius and it is squaring your sun. It will continue to do that for many, many years to come, but it has now gone retrograde. And since Pluto rules people in upper management, there could be a change in upper management. That would go along with the idea that people have to make tough choices right now. So if you are in upper management, that could affect you. There may be some sort of change coming up for you, or you may decide to make one yourself, Taurus, mainly because you could be looking around and not seeing as much money as you had hoped would be in some situation in your life, so you may as well sort of move on to something else. Well, I don't know if you're actually going to be moving on to something else, but at least if you could avoid some sort of financial disaster right now, that would be a really good idea, Taurus. And so I wouldn't bite off more than I could chew right now. And the most important thing that you could do on your behalf is to make some sort of tough choice, perhaps to just handle your own money in a little better way that promotes longevity, your longevity, and your own financial longevity, without depending on anybody else. Your sign does rule investments. You're pretty good at that. And I just think that ability is being threatened a little bit by extenuating circumstances or changes in management. And I think you should sort of duck out of that right now, Taurus, and try to do what's best for you. I think if you are having to make a tough choice based on that, you'll be very glad that you did that in the long run. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Gemini, Jupiter is in your sign, which is good. However, it is being heartily squared by other planets that can promote dissension right now among authority figures or parents or people that you could be involved with in one way or another. And that is because Jupiter's fortified in your sun sign. Pluto in Aquarius is trining it. That's going to go on for years, Gemini. Lucky you. However, today, the moon in Virgo is squaring your sun sign, and Saturn is in Pisces, also squaring your sun sign. And Jupiter is at 23 degrees of Gemini today. Saturn is at 28 degrees of Pisces. The moon is at 20 degrees of Virgo. All three planets are in the last decan of their signs. They're getting ready to move on. So you could feel at this time that you'd sort of like to get up and go and get going on something new, Gemini. Well, I would think about that a little bit more, but I would say, why not? And the reason why is that even if you try something, if you scale back your plans a little bit and you just try something that's part-time or that's temporary, in other words, you sort of just, you're not going to jump wholeheartedly into something, but you can try it out or you can explore the possibilities. I don't think you have anything to lose, and that's a very good idea. But if you want to spend your time fighting with other people who have rather strict attitudes right now, you won't get anywhere. So that would stop your own progress, Gemini. So this is, even though your sign rules conversation and you're really good at it, it rules public relations, this is not a time when you should be listening too much to what other people are trying to make you do. This is a time when you need to step back and just simply think, okay, what about my future? How am I going to make that happen? And maybe you're thinking of something that is so far down the road that there isn't any point in talking to anybody about it yet because nothing has happened on it. But if you don't get started, Gemini, you won't get there. So this is a time when it might pay you to be a little bit more quiet about what you want to do. And if you get a chance to talk to somebody in a management position, that would be a very good idea. And that is because Pluto, which is now retrograde, is in Aquarius, and it is trining your sun. And it will be trining your sun for years. But it's even better if it's trining Jupiter in your sun sign. So I think that you should reach out toward your future, but I would not quarrel with anybody right now. And if you can possibly get an appointment with somebody who's a little bit higher up and talk to them about your good idea, I think that's the way to go. Because even if they can't act immediately upon that, you would at least be talking to the right people, Gemini. And that'll get you further down the road in time. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. This is a time, Cancer, when you have to sort of turn around and find out what's coming up behind you. And that's because Mars is in Leo, right behind your sun sign, and it is being sorely challenged by Pluto in Aquarius, which is opposing it, and also by the Sun and Uranus in Taurus, which is squaring it. So that Mars in Leo, which rules leadership, is coming sort of under attack, and yet it can represent people who want to attack. And that is right in front of your sun sign, not behind your sun sign, I'm sorry. But because it's around you, Cancer, I think you need to be a little bit careful who you're talking to right now. Somebody could come to you with a big problem and try to sort of light a fire under you and get you to do something that would benefit them. And it could probably have something to do with a financial matter. Because Mars is opposing Pluto. These are the two rulers of Scorpio. Uranus is squaring that Mars and in Taurus, and Taurus is the other fixed financial sign. If you are involved in any kind of a financial matter right now, Cancer, I would keep a low profile and try to be as quiet as you can. If you run up against somebody who's, really hot under the collar and wants to involve you in their problems, you should quietly duck out of that or give a good excuse if you can, and then maybe just attend to something behind the scenes that has been around for a long time that you know about, and you would be more successful that way. And that is because Saturn in Pisces is still trining your sun. Nothing else is, though. The other planets in Pisces have moved on, but Saturn is still there. And Saturn is a planet of time. And so it can be that you've had some wish or hope or something that is related to something that's been going on for a long time. It probably has been going on behind the scenes for a long time. And you would be more successful dealing with that right now, Cancer, and just being quiet. And so if people around want to argue with you, you've got to make an excuse and get out of there, Cancer. Because everybody, including you, are going to have tough choices to make. But I think most people are going to be, once they make the tough choice, they'll be pretty glad they did that. In the long run, they'll be glad they did that. And so if you want to avoid problems, I would work on something behind the scenes that has been around for a long time, and I would say it's getting ready to move on. So I guess your tough choice would be whether you wanted to do something about that, get together. This is a trine, it's harmonious, or let it go. And it's pretty much up to you, Cancer. And if you let it go, even though it was sort of quiet, even a secret of yours, it doesn't look like it'll be coming back. And so that's what's sort of tough about making a tough decision right now. You would have to ask yourself how much that matters to you. Because in a tough decision, everybody is going to have to make a choice. And it could cause frustration, or it could cause disappointment. But adjustments will have to be made, and now. And so in the long run, I think people are going to be glad about the results of their tough decisions, or tough choices. So good luck, Cancer. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, This is a time, Leo, when you could almost be on the warpath. Try not to do that, Leo, but you could be in the mood for that. And the reason why is that you could feel, for one thing, you could feel, since Mars is in your sign and it's a planet of speed and aggression, but also of jealousy and hate and envy and greed, you could feel that if somebody owes you some money, that you really want to grab it or get it. Or if you are angry at somebody, you could feel like really letting them know that right now. And the reason why is that there could be a financial matter that is very frustrating to you. And that is because Mars in your sign is being heartily opposed by Pluto in Aquarius. And Aquarius is retrograde, indicating, since Pluto rules people in upper management, that there can be some changes there. And remember, I said there would be changes at the top, or changes in leadership, either due to people's past actions which are being discovered, or because somebody had their hands in the cookie jar, getting their hands on money that they really shouldn't have had, and that could be going on as well. And so in one way or another, you might be involved with that or know about that, Leo, and you would not come out the winner in an argument. Don't try not to argue with anybody right now. That is because you could lose more than you'd gain. Like, no matter how much you're arguing about, you'd lose more than that. So what's the benefit of an argument? Nothing. Less than zero. And the reason why is that the Sun, your own ruler, Leo, and Uranus are in Taurus, squaring that Mars in your sign, and Uranus and Mars are two malefic planets. This is a time, Leo, when you could really get yourself in trouble. Particularly if you open your mouth right now. Particularly if there's any angry words coming out, or you do something that shows your jealous or vindictive side. Don't do that, Leo. Leo rules leadership, and because Mars is in your sign and under harsh aspects, there will be a change in leadership. And if you have to make a tough choice right now, the thing that might be hardest for you, Leo, is to keep quiet. But you might be real glad you did that in the end. And that is because there are some planets trining your Sun. And they're good planets. You need to get over what's making you mad, or what's putting you in a sort of a controversial position. And somehow you've got to get over that, Leo, and move on. Because Venus and Mercury and Neptune are all in Aries trining your Sun. Your Sun actually has a lot of support from the planets in Aries. It has even greater resistance coming up because of this harsh T-cross. And that's why if you go down the path of anger or jealousy or greed, or you want to pound on somebody right now, you're going to get more hurt than they are, because you have more to lose. Whereas if you decide, I'm going to get off this, and I'm going to concentrate on something new, you might be real glad you made that tough decision, Leo, because the planets in Aries trine your Sun and nothing else does. So you've got the support if you try something new. Otherwise, it's going to be real tough. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo. This is a time, Virgo, with the moon in your sign today, that you can be not confused, but you could be thinking more along lines about a family or a home or a real estate matter. Those are all the things the moon rules, and it is in your sign. Or you could just be examining your own feelings right now, because the moon rules our feelings. And it could be about a home or a real estate matter, because the moon rules Cancer, and that's what Cancer rules. But Cancer also rules endings. And it rules the last half of life, which is generally better for Cancers than the first half of their life. And so that general moon in your sign, Virgo, is taking a hit from Saturn in Pisces, which is opposing it. And Saturn is a strict planet. And the moon is pretty soft and gentle. And so you have to sort of decide what you want to do about a matter that involves a family matter, or an authority, something that involves an authority figure, or else matters that deal with young people, or a temporary or part-time effort that you're thinking about, Virgo. because Jupiter in Gemini is squaring that moon in your sign, and Saturn in Pisces is opposing it. Virgos usually go by the book, and the book has got to have a lot of numbers in it, because Virgo rules accounting. So if you are doing an accounting and you get upset about a financial matter, this is probably not the time to try to solve that problem from an emotional standpoint. If you could instead step back a little bit and just think somewhat logically, which logic is ruled by Virgo, so that would be fine for you. If you could just think logically about, in the long run, what would be best for you, you might succeed at that. It doesn't mean you'd be coming up against a strong force, because you could avoid that by thinking more long term. This may be a time when you're going to be separating from something or someone that's been around a long time. But the problem is that it should have been done before. You'd be better off with the separation. You'd be better off on your own. The Sun and Uranus are trining your Sun from Taurus. See, you need to concentrate on your own assets. And you need to concentrate on your own practical concerns. Your sign rules health, both physical health and mental health. You've got to make a tough choice on what would be best for you, Virgo. And this is, Virgos are modest. They're thinking of always being of service to other people. This is one time when you need to think of what would be best for you in the long run. And it is really physically and mentally, how do you get out of the stress around you? Who's causing that stress? How are you wasting your time? Your sign rules efficiency. Virgos don't like to waste time. So if there's something in your life that you could sort of turn around right now, Virgo, by just concentrating on what would be best for you, that's a very good idea. And that pertains to financial matters as well. And Mars is in Leo right behind your sun sign. In the background of your life, there is some upsetting situation. That's why you need to make a tough choice about what is best for you. And that would be in the long run. I mean, your physical health and your mental health, well, let's hope they lead to a very long life, Virgo. But now is the time for you to be putting that as a priority for yourself. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you may be wondering why people aren't listening to you more. You have good ideas. All the air signs do. And Jupiter in Gemini is trining your Sun, and Pluto in Aquarius is also trining your Sun. So your sun sign has a lot of backup. And so you would think that people in upper management would listen to you, and that young people would listen to you. Well, maybe that's so, Libra. But on the other hand, and Libras get along with everybody. They are absolutely charming people. I don't know how they do that, but they're sort of peacemakers. And Libra does rule peace and art and beauty. They like things to look good. But this is a time, Libra, when you need to consider something new. And the reason why, oddly enough, is because of a strong opposition to your sign. And it can be sort of like the future is calling you. And I don't know if you're really listening, Libra, but Neptune, Venus, your own ruler, Libra, and Mercury are in Aries right now, opposing your sun sign. Okay, and they're backed up. Mars and Leo is trining them. And so, somewhere, Libra, there's something new out there for you. Why aren't you going for it? Okay, it's a bit of a stretch to get there, I know. And this is an opposition that really means separations. There isn't anything in your sign. There's no opposition from your sign. But there's 3 planets from Aries that are opposing your sign. And it's sort of like, I'm wondering, Libra, if you're hearing the call of the future. If you're hearing the call of something new that you could do or that you want to start. Maybe you think that it's too far out there. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, gee, I don't feel like that now. Well, okay, I mean, your opinion counts. But on the other hand, your sign has so much support from good planets from Jupiter in Gemini trining your sun sign and Pluto in Aquarius trining your sun sign, which means you've got backup. There are people in upper management that do believe in you. And they may have talked to you already. Well, they may come back and talk to you again. And you know, you can't be closing the door to opportunity, Libra. You got to keep that door open. And there is something new that it might be a stretch for you to reach it. But I advise you to do that. You have nothing to lose, and you have a lot of backup. Now, Jupiter in Gemini is going to move on. On June 10th, it goes into Cancer, where it will begin to square your sun. This is the time for you even to start, if you want to start anything new, Libra, even if you're only starting it part-time or in a temporary way, don't waste any more time. Just do it. You have nothing to lose. And you have backup. You have other people that believe in you. Don't turn your back on them. Because the other side of the coin is, do you want them to turn their back on you? Well, they might if you don't respond. And so you got to go forward, Libra, no matter what. It's a tough choice. Okay, it might disturb whatever else you're doing in your life a little bit if you're adding something new to it. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, Libra. And right now, you don't have anything to lose by trying something new. So I'd do it if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when you can be feeling the heat, just like last week, because the same 4 planets are in the same signs as they were last week, and under the new moon in Taurus, there were 5 planets, but in the same signs. And so that hasn't changed. The moon moved on, but none of the other planets did. So Scorpio, even though your sign is empty right now, there is actually only one planet trining it. You've had trines from planets in Cancer, because Mars was there for a long time. That's your own ruler. And then there were many more planets in Pisces, and now there's only one left, and it's Saturn. So Saturn is the only planet trining your sun right now, and it's at 28 degrees of Pisces. It's on its way into Aries as well. And your rulers are at war with each other, both of them squaring your sun. Pluto in Aquarius is squaring your sun, Mars in Leo is squaring your sun, and they're opposing each other. There really is a huge clash going on somewhere, and there will be a change in management, I guarantee you, and it will involve financial matters. And it can be that leadership changes due to something that they'd been doing in the past that perhaps was not quite right, or leadership could change because somebody has had their hands in the cookie jar, maybe making a little more money under the table, something like that, and it comes out. And that would cause a change in leadership. Well, Scorpio, you could feel as if that's happening all around you, which actually it is. And you could decide, well, since it's involving financial matters and mine is a financial sign, what can I do about it? Well, see, it's a tough choice, isn't it, Scorpio? If I were you, I would stick to what is working for you, not against you. And what is working for you right now is the only planet trining your sun, and that is Saturn in Pisces. Now, Saturn is a planet of time and a planet of stability. And it rules Capricorn, which rules long-term rewards. And generally, it rules somebody's career and also their public reputation. And I would pay a little bit more attention to that than anything else right now, Scorpio, because it's the only planet trining your sun. And it's direct. And your sign is under so much controversy and pressure right now that I think the only way you can get back to some sort of peace of mind right now is to look over your own financial matters, and if there is any debt, you ought to try to pay that off, because debt can just sink you. And if there is any kind of money mismanagement that you find out about, that is a good reason to have leadership change. And you want to be sure and keep your hands on your own money, Scorpio. And this may be a better time for you to pull back if you are involved in any other financial dealings and just just mind your own financial matters and get them in really good shape. And the reason why is that there can be some long-term help from people who are older or who are very respectable, and they can be of some help for you behind the scenes. Pisces rules things behind the scenes. And so that is what you should be concentrating on. Is Saturn is not a planet that's known for fun. It's known for hard work. And so, Scorpio, if you're retired and you're thinking, oh, I've worked hard enough, I don't have to do that anymore, I'd rethink that, Scorpio, because whoever else has a very good track record and a good public reputation, they could be in your corner, and your sign is being so besieged, and it has been, and that's not letting up, Scorpio. You're still going to be facing financial and leadership problems. And the tough choice for you is whether you just want to get in and grapple with situations that it doesn't look like you can win right now, or do you want to go behind the scenes and hook up with somebody who's somewhat older, well-established, knows what they're doing, has a good reputation, or has earned that in their workplace, and stick with them. So you're going to have to decide, but boy, I would go behind the scenes and work with people who have good, sound business judgment right now, Scorpio, because I think your sign is getting so attacked regarding financial matters. And I think that the bottom line would be, there's a lot of greed out there, Scorpio. It seems to be aimed at you, your sign. And I think what you need to do is withdraw, if you can, or cut ties, and simply, stop arguing. Don't argue with anybody, but go behind the scenes and stick to what you know is the right thing or the best thing to do. And that would involve values that you had had for a very long time, maybe even that you were raised with. And stick with that. It's about the only safe outlet you have right now, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time, Sagittarius, when you could almost feel as if the world is your oyster. And when I'm talking about making tough choices, or like last week when I was thinking about tense times that we can all be under, you could have been feeling, oh, but there's always a way out. There's always something else I could do. You happen to be right about that, Sagittarius, because yours is a fire sign. And I said there were trines and fire signs. So right now, you have 4 planets trining your sun sign, Sagittarius. And your sign rules travel, particularly long-distance travel. If you wanted to just get on the road, Sagittarius, you could do that rather successfully right now. I would plan a long-distance trip if I were you, or plan some sort of trip. It would be nice to get out of town and just get away from some of the things that you can't control, but that have been bothering you. And so Mars in Leo, which is under severe duress right now and indicates a change in leadership, that is trining your sun, Sagittarius. It means that may benefit you. Some change in leadership somewhere that you're connected with in your life, either at work or in an organization that you belong to, or in the country. That change in leadership could benefit you or do you a lot of good. You would agree with it because Mars is trining your sun. And then Venus, Mercury, and Neptune in Aries, which rule new beginnings, are all trining your sun too. You are the beneficiary of 4 planets trining your sun. And what are you waiting for, Sagittarius? This is the time, no matter what you feel like health-wise, or what else you're doing mentally, because yours is a very intellectual sign. You can be concerned with a lot of things that are happening in the world. But what you need to do is just start something new and get going. And also, if it's just a long-distance trip, it could be an educational one. Your sign rules 4-year colleges and universities. And maybe you're wanting to go even back to school. This is an excellent time to go check that out, Sagittarius. You may have nothing to lose at all. And at the very least, take a vacation, because this is a great time to do it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, This is a time, Capricorn, when yes, you still benefit from the fact that the Sun and Uranus in Taurus are trining your Sun. So you can feel that you have a pretty good handle on your own investments, you have a good understanding of that, or you may have moved some things around and so that you're feeling a little bit more conservative and more secure, financially secure in your investments. Maybe you've sold some that you've been worrying about, and now you don't have to worry about that anymore, and you can just put the money in your own pocket. That's good. And also the moon in Virgo today is trining your Sun as well. So you have 3 planets trining. I told you there are trines in other elements, and one in air, and there's trines in the air signs, the fire signs, and the earth signs, which is what your sign is. And so you could have some rather good sound advice, or people around you that know a lot about money or investments, or you could hear of a good investment now, and you could probably afford it, Capricorn. And also, there could be some kind of news about your health, either your mental health or your physical health, because the moon is in Virgo trining your Sun. Or you could get news about somebody else's health, and it might be a woman's health. And that could be absolutely excellent for you. Or if it's your own, there could be some good news coming your way. You could just feel better about something now, Capricorn. And you may even be thinking about not exactly changing jobs, but the world is certainly changing, and it's not the way it used to be. And it's possible that you could be changing your job, but perhaps going to something that pays more, or that is a little, maybe it would be part-time, but you could do it. So there's that sort of opportunity around somewhere for you, Capricorn. And I think it would be good for you to do that. Either try out something new, or if you were even in an organization that you'd been in a long time where there are some leadership changes, you may want to make some changes too. It seems to me that you would be successful at that right now, because there are good trines from the other earth signs trining your Sun. So I would say things are looking up for you, Capricorn. And if you're having to make a tough decision, I would hope that between a yes vote and a no vote on something, that the yes vote involved a yes that does you some good. Okay? You don't have to give a yes vote to be helping somebody else right now. If I were you, I'd put my money on my own nose right now, Capricorn, because it seems to me that's a pretty smart place to put it. With the trine in the earth signs trining your Sun. So you may want to quietly invest in something that will do you some good. And I would suggest that you do that right now while you've got the support of the moon in Virgo trining your Sun, and the Sun. That's the lights, the moon and the Sun, and Uranus and Taurus trining your Sun. If nothing else, Capricorn, why don't you plan a very nice, even expensive vacation and have a good time at it. That would increase your physical health and your mental health and put you in a good mood, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Pluto is in your sign taking a beating because Mars in Leo is opposing that Pluto in your sign. And the change is that Pluto has gone retrograde now in your sign. It is such a slow mover, and it's at 4 degrees in your sign today, that even though it's going retrograde, it will not go back into Capricorn. I have looked all the way through the end of this decade, and it doesn't go back into Capricorn. And so it will retrograde, meaning that, Aquarius, you may be changing your mind about some leadership role that you, or upper management role that you're thinking about. And it may be that you were just happily going along minding your own business, but that there is some opportunity coming up where you may be a mentor or an advisor to somebody else, and they would be younger, because Jupiter in Gemini is trining your Sun. I would respond to that, Aquarius, if I were you, and hook up with other people, particularly younger people, because they could be very stimulating for you. And right now, younger people are having a hard time getting older people, including their parents or authority figures, to listen to them. But Aquarius, your sign is the sign of the humanitarian. Aquarians are not judgmental. They'll fight for the underdog, or they'll go in another direction that they like, but they're not judgmental about people. And so if you were able to hook up with younger people who are under stress right now because of the planets that are squaring Jupiter in Gemini, that's the Moon in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces, if you were just there to listen a little bit, or give some advice, or maybe ask younger people some questions that can help and to educate you, Aquarius. Maybe you have to sort of go back to the drawing board and figure out that, oh gee, I don't know what's coming up in the future. I should ask somebody what they think or what they're doing, just to get an idea. That would be a really good idea for you, Aquarius. It would be mutually beneficial. The young people would have somebody listening to them and asking questions of them that is interested in them. Okay, well, that's not actually happening too much in their lives right now. But if you came in, they would appreciate you doing that and listening to them. And on the other hand, they're going to let you know what's going on in the future, and your sign rules the future. You know, it would be mutually beneficial for you to get together, even on a part-time basis with younger people right now. And you could be asking good questions, which they would have the answers to. That would help you out. But you could also be a very good listener. And they need that, because nobody else is listening to them right now, particularly not their parents or authority figures. So good luck on that, Aquarius. And it's a way of taking the stress off your shoulders about a financial or leadership issue that you're either not agreeing with or that people are trying to burden you with. And Aquarius is a fixed sign, but Aquarius, your sign rules freedom. You like your freedom. You don't like to be burdened by a bunch of quarrels from other people. That's not your style. So if I were you, I would just stick to something that's a little part-time or easier and involves younger people. And you would be glad you did in the long run. You would benefit much more than you think. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when you may be looking around and saying, oh, where did everybody go? Because actually there are not half as many planets in your sign as there have been for a long time. In fact, there's only one planet in your sign right now, Pisces, and it's Saturn. The lucky north node of the moon, which indicates a lucky friend of yours behind the scenes, is still there and will be for about the next 16 months or something like that, a little bit more than a year. And so that's good. So you'd have a lucky friend behind the scenes, Pisces. But Saturn is the only planet in your sign right now. It is at 28 degrees. It's getting ready to leave and go into Aries. And it could be sort of like a voice from the past, or something. It could involve or represent something that you maybe always wanted to do but had never gotten around to doing. Believe me, Pisces, you need to do it now. And that is because you yourself could be under a little bit of stress and realizing that you too have to make a tough choice. And I think that's coming right up, Pisces. And the reason why is that Saturn, which is in your sign, is at 28 degrees, is being opposed today by the moon in Virgo, and it's at 20 degrees. So, and the moon's a fast mover, so you know by tonight it'll be exactly opposing that Saturn. And then, on top of that, Jupiter in Gemini is squaring Saturn in your sign. And so the tough decision or tough choice that you may have to make, Pisces, is whether to work harder, that would be Saturn in your sign, or whether to sort of live, the way I would describe it is, can you live up to your best? Could you be in a situation where you could sort of coast along and have a good time and do what you want, and almost nobody would see you doing that because your sign rules things behind the scenes anyway? Or could you just be realizing that there's something real serious that you care about. Saturn is a serious planet, and you got to get on it. And maybe you could say, oh, but I'm having a good time the way I am. Why do I want to have to do something real serious? Well, let me put it another way, Pisces. Time is slipping by. Saturn rules time. And maybe the opportunity to do that is slipping by as well. And you might regret that for the rest of your life, because it won't be coming back. Unless you're real young, Pisces, because Saturn won't be back to Pisces for 28 to 30 years. That's how long it takes it to get around a chart even once. So if you've been thinking about something that you should be doing or wanted to do, and even been a little bit afraid of it or doubtful of it, Saturn is a planet that rules doubt, you have a tough choice ahead of you right now, Pisces. But do you go for that? And it would require work. It would require you being serious. And, you know, Saturn is not a planet that represents something at the last minute. It represents something that's been going on for a long time, or something that you wanted to have go on. But because your sign rules things behind the scenes, you may have had your doubts. You may have wanted to do other things that were more fun. So the tough choice is what do you do? Do you buckle under and you roll up your sleeves and you get to work on something that is, it could even be hereditary. It could be if you come from a family of hard workers and somehow you were able to do things the easy way, and you'd have to go back to doing it their way. Are you ready for that, Pisces? Or would you just, it's a tough choice. Or do you just want to enjoy whatever you're doing right now and keep doing that? Well, believe me, not everyone's going to agree with you one way or the other. That's why it's a tough choice. So whatever choice you make right now, Pisces, I do believe that you will be glad you did that in the long run. But I don't know if it involves a real serious thing that you've been thinking about for a long time and you got to do. And it could be something that you would require more work. Or could it be something where it's just involving pleasing other people, making other people happy, but pretty much at a fairly high cost to your own self-esteem? Because Pisces, too often, a Pisces becomes a doormat to other people. They're very nice. They're willing to do that. Not everybody is, but Pisces is. And this isn't exactly the time for that. This is the time for you to make a commitment. And it's not to the past. It is to something that would be serious, but would take you into the future. It would represent a new beginning. Saturn's going to be in Aries real quick. So you can think about that if you want, Pisces. But Jupiter is squaring your sun, and the moon is opposing your sun sign, where you have Saturn. So you do have a tough choice. But I think it's between just going along, doing whatever you please, and, you know, giving in to others, or making a commitment to something that you know really would involve you doing your best, even though it's hard work. And it could involve something that would be more rewarding than anything you'd ever done. And if you'd always been intending to sort of do that, boy, this is the time, Pisces, so good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for the new subscribers. I hope you tell your friends about the show as well, because they can see Starborn on the Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And until then, I'll see you right here next week. Bye.